Hi, I'm Sunny, and today's pick a card is a celebrity crush pick a card. I have 5 piles you guys can choose from. From left to right, I have pile 1, 2, 3, followed by 4 and 5 to the very end in the right side. So if you need more time, pause the video and then select the pile or piles of your choice if you're thinking about one person or more than one person. So remember, the question is the vice or vices of your celebrity crush. So I will start with the first one, pile number 1. You guys have the Judgment card reversed. So when it comes to your celebrity crush, the vice or vices that your celebrity crush has wow, that's not a word, has is has to do with the fact that they might enjoy hearing the gossip behind the scenes or what they're being told. I guess it's not necessarily that they always enjoy gossip about themselves, like they are involved in the gossip. I keep thinking of like, this is terrible, but like Jennifer Lopez, but it's more in the way where they're someone that enjoys hearing that they're part of the conversation, that they're still relevant. For example, they're like still in like the gossip magazines, or they're being talked about behind the scenes, because even though they might not say it out there, they're very much thinking that there's someone that, even though it's a reversed, they like to hear that, they enjoy being part of it, but they won't admit it or won't acknowledge it publicly. I think there's someone that maybe just to their close circle that it might be more obvious, but I do feel they really enjoy hearing the compliments about how good they're doing or how successful something they were part of took place, and they are being not necessarily worshipped because of the ground they walk, but so much more that it's more like they just enjoy being relevant. They enjoy being talked about. They enjoy hearing being complimented behind their backs, or just like hearsay. She's here. I don't think I said that right. He say, she say. Is it like that? He say, she say stuff. You might understand what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I do feel that overall this pile in particular, I think the person in your mind really just likes to hear that they were part of the right decision to move forward with this project or creative project, for example, and that it was successful. So they're like, well, yeah, I was like intuitively right. Like I just knew what to do. Like it's just natural talent. Like it feels more like that, where it's not a little not condescending, but there's a hinge of cockiness, maybe a bit narcissistic tendencies, very self-involved, someone that really just enjoys hearing about themselves frequently. So that's gonna be them. I do feel like they like to be talked about and critiqued, but like critiqued positively. I don't think they enjoy hearing critiques to tear them down. They hate that, but they enjoy hearing the critiques, or like the critics like go at them and be like, amazing, wonderful, like let's give them a round of applause. Sorry. So it feels like that. It feels like they just enjoy kind of like some amount of drama, but it has to do with the fact that they enjoy hearing like their haters being obsessed with them, or their critics like being positive about them. But it feels like they just really like that, obsession, possibly. So thank you, pile number 1. Pile number 2, you guys have the sun upright. So this person in your mind, your celebrity crush, is someone that that really likes being in the spotlight. So I think they're someone that likes to be really joyful. So maybe their more vices might have to do with the fact that they're really in this energy of being carefree, where they don't feel like being responsible, in the sense of like, what's a few $100 less? Let's just invest ourselves in this, or like let's just do this for fun because it's fun in the moment. I'm not gonna think about the consequences later. It's just so creatively cool. Like maybe like doing way too many visuals and spending, like imagine yourself spending too much over budget for something that could have been done more practical or cheaper, and they just like, let's buy like 3,000 different types of lights because I want to see what every single light can do, and I just want to know like which one looks cool, or like we can use them all. It's no biggie. It feels like that. Like they bask in their creativeness. Anything that makes them feel like a little child, I think they're like, yes, let's do that. Of course. It feels like they like to hear the yeses and they don't like to hear no's. Anything that stops their creativity and their flow is like, yeah, let's not do that. So it feels like that, where that's the kind of advice I'm getting from your celebrity crush, is that they like to feel like there is some amount of control, but it's not like a control freak. It's an amount of control where it's like, the sky's the limit. I don't want to hear no's. I don't want to hear anything that's relating to buts or any consequences. I just want to be carefree. I just want to know that I'm having fun, and that's what's important, because if I'm not having fun, nothing's going to get done. So it feels like that, where it's like they can be a little bit, it's not prissy, but I'm trying to find the proper word, where they're like choosier when it comes to who they end up hiring or who they end up surrounding themselves with, because they don't want to hear anything but their own opinion. They're the sun. Everybody revolves around them. If they're needing something, they want people to be at their beck and call. So it could be sometimes unrealistic expectations of the people that are around them. And it's like, we can't do that. We'll make it happen. Like, there's no buts. You're just going to do it. So it can be like that. It can be a little too much in that sense, where it's like, it's not all fun and games. I also think of the Cat in the Hat here, where it's like, you know that he just wanted to have a good time, and the kids were having a good time in the story, but then you know that he was getting out of hand with like thing 1 and thing 2, and then like everybody else kind of, like the kids were just like, okay, like the house is a mess, let's put everything back, and he's like, no, there's more. It feels like that. It feels like your particular celebrity crush is always like out for a good time, for fun, and it can be a little bit too much. So that's what I have for you, pile number 2. Next, pile number 3, you guys have the 3 of Pentacles upright. So a vice or vices that this particular person in your mind has can be that, one, they could be a little bit materialistic, and because they're a little bit materialistic and focused on creating income, having stability, or being someone that's well connected, or someone that has the nice house, the nice vehicle, the right connections, like there's someone that's a lot more 3D, they might forget that they have to actually focus on the emotional aspect. So maybe that's where there might be some flaws with this one. So the vices or vice that you can also, add to this is the fact that they might enjoy working. That's not a bad thing, but they might be, one, a little bit too much of a workaholic, or they might prefer just to be in groups. I think there's someone that they enjoy working, but they might not enjoy doing solo stuff, or they might not enjoy, there could be some hesitancy at first sometimes with some people when it comes to collaborating with others, but I do feel that they might feel more comfortable with that, because example, like, so let's say something goes wrong, like example, if it's like a singer, they're like, well, you're supposed to sell at least X amount of albums because we put this much amount in production and like, everything else, right, to make sales. So this person enjoys collaborating with people, or collaborating with a lot of people, because when it comes to them like taking accountability, they'd like to not separate that, but like they'd like to share the fault. If I make myself clear. So it's like, well, yeah, I was not as successful as the previous album, but it was because I went with this other director, and then I also went with this other visual artist, and then I made collaboration with this person, and this person was kind of sketch right now. So it's like they wanna, it doesn't necessarily mean they don't want to take accountability. They just want to share the fault. They don't want to be at fault, just singularly. So they might have some issues when it comes to that. It's like, why can't you just take most of the credit, like when it's not just when it's good, it has to be also when it's bad. There's two sides of like, when things go good, you're like, this person's like, oh yeah, I did it all, it was on me. But when things go bad, it's like, well, it wasn't just me. I was involved with this person, or this person didn't want to dance, or this person didn't want to sing with me too, and I had a lot of issues with the like backup vocals, or I had a lot of issues with people performing with me. They were always calling sick, or it's stuff like that where it's like, when it's good, they're like, yeah, of course, it was great. It was I did this and I quote unquote collaborated with everybody, but behind the scenes, it's like very different. So it could be one of those things where it's like when it's convenient, there you go. When it's convenient for them to be like working in partnerships, of course, they're game. But when it's not convenient, they will try to maneuver themselves out of those sticky situations and just wash their hands. So it can be like that with this person. That's like their vice. Their vice is that they might not always have the best intentions for everybody because they want to succeed, right? It could be solo stuff. Like it just feels like that with this person. Where it's like they might my eye they might have a bit of a power dynamic in this pile. Like who has the most say is basically what's like a big thing for them. It's like, ooh, it's their fault, it's their flaw. I think they always try to have the most power or the most say in a situation where they have the most not accountability, most advantage and whatever. And when it comes to monetary specifically, I think they want to have the most advantage. Like example, they want to have the most rights to songs or stuff like that because they want, or credits, because they want the recognition, they want the money, they want the status, they want to know that they are doing the part and, you know, looking good for everybody. So it can be like that. They have these tendencies to like try to build something when they could be doing that shared, you know, like shared equally. Like being equal is not their thing. It's like they struggle with that. So thank you, pile number 3. Pile number 4, you guys have the page of pentacles. Wait, not the page, the king of pentacles, sorry, upright. Why did I say page? Pile number 4, I think that my nose. Sorry, I want to sneeze. Okay, pile number 4, I think that the specific person in your mind that you're thinking about, your celebrity crush, has a thing about being the person, what's the hostess with the mostest? They really want to be the person who is in control of everything. They want to foresee everything, where it's like, I want to know that if I'm making the most money, I'm making the most money, and I'm not sharing that with my manager. I'm not sharing that with my creative team. I'm not sharing that with anybody else. Like, I want the royalties to be mine. So it feels like this person, they work hard to stay where they're at, and they'll do whatever it takes to be there. So if it means to be extra controlling when it comes to like micromanaging, it feels like that, where they want to micromanage situations to a T, so that they know that it's not gonna be a flaw, it's not gonna be a mess. So it's like, you're not gonna step out of line. I need you to be very regimented. I think that's what I'm trying to say, regimented with the things that they have. Like if they have a plan, you're gonna follow that from A to Z. You're gonna follow that from step 1 to step 20, whatever. So it feels like that there's someone that's very methodical and controlling when it comes to having ways. Like if it works, if they found out the perfect formula, you're gonna do the perfect formula with them. There's nothing less than that. It's not gonna work anyway. Even if you could have a better idea, for example, of how things could work even better for them, they're like, this always worked for me. I'm very fixed in my ways, and you're gonna do what I say. It's gonna continue to be that way. So it feels like that because they want to continue having the success that they want, the consistent success, and they want to be relevant for the long run and not the short term, they're going to continue doing things their way. They're going to play it safe. So I think this person's vice is that they play it safe when it comes to doing choices and decisions, so that they have a steady income, and they want to stay popular and relevant for the long term. So maybe, like example, they're a movie star or something. They're taking their time in doing decisions, like reading scripts, for example, making sure that they read the proper ones, and they make sure that it's not controversial, or that if it is even touching that, it's going to be something that can make a point or be relevant to something that they stand for. So it could be something that they believe in, or even like they see the potential of growth in the long term. Maybe it not might be as popular at the time frame, but future tense begs to differ. So it feels like they really like to kind of pick and choose what really is going to work for them and what they're comfortable with. Baby steps. I think they're methodical and they're controlling in that way, just to have their finances not messed with. They don't like not having money, because they could have a bit of a workaholic tendency, like some other piles I think I mentioned. So that's important for them. They have this, like, I want to say, like, daddy energy, to where they're like, I'm the boss, I'm the man, I'm the woman, I'm going to take this and I'm going to roll with it. And you're going to follow through because you're going to do it. So it feels like that, where it's like they like that type of control. But I really do think it's kind of cool that they like this. But it's a vice, so it's not always great to be maybe stingy also with their habits. Like they might not want to overly invest in things. They might want to choose a practical route of doing things. So it's like, yeah, it looks cute, but it could have been cuter. Like, imagine yourself doing a poster and you just use regular black marker, blue marker, red marker, when you could be using like the whole Crayola markers and like doing colorful things and decorating, but you decided not to because you're being practical with time, being convenient. But like, yeah, it's still good, but like, is it pizzazz? Is it wow? Is that amazing? It's like you're just playing it safe. So it feels like that with this one. Like they play it very, very safe. So next is pile number 5. Pile number 5, you guys have the Page of Cups reverse. So the vice or vices that this person has, even though this isn't necessarily what I would say, like for some reason, like first, right? I do think that maybe they just like having their secret romances, for example. Their secret, not that they're secret affairs, it's just that they like to keep that private. So like, I think that their vices is like being interested in people, or like maybe when they have connections, for example, or flings, they can overlap, right? They can overlap with the men and women that they date, or just date around, without being like a formal connection and stuff. So it could be like that, where it's like nobody knows, it's behind the scenes, just me and them. So very calculated, that no one's gonna really pick and rip it apart, right? So it's like no one's gonna make the connection, so it's all good, right? Or it just feels like they're not someone that is very considerate of people's feelings too. This is different scenarios for this pile. Kind of gives me different scenarios where it's like it could be like that, or it can be someone that's not very considerate of the people around them, and so they're very cold. They're mature, but it just feels like they might be a little bit curt when it comes to their words. They're not very empathetic, or there might be, it doesn't feel like they're socially inept when it comes to being considerate of people when they're like doing stuff for them. Like, oh, I brought you a coffee, and they just kind of take it for granted. So they just kind of take it, and they're not like, oh, thank you, or oh, that was so nice of you, you didn't have to. Like, they're not that polite. So it can be one of those vices. Or I also feel that they can be a little bit moody. I think that they might have some instability when it comes to that. They don't have that balance. And when I say that, it could be like they might be a little bit prickly in personality, and only people that end up being with them, around them, or working with them kind of notice that. So it's like, it's not all fun and games. It's like this person looks like they're great on the outside. Like, oh yeah, people think like, oh, this person's so fun. They're so loving, and they're so like, it's like a girl next door, boy next door kind of thing. And you always see them on like social media, or like the media, different types of media. And they're very different. Like, it's not that they can't be like that, it's just like the charisma like puts a facade. So it's like their business smile, but then you're like, the minute the lights turn off, it's like, oh, whatever. So they go back to their typical habits, because they might just be social because it's required of them, because it's like expected of them because of their profession. But if you tell them if it's natural come to them that they want to do that, no, they don't wish to. They are much more like prickly, like, I'm just not feeling it today. I just don't want it. Or it's like they could be overly emotional. They can be erratic when it comes to that, because they're just, they've never had positive encounters when it comes to handling their emotions. So they might be a little bit more, they might take their time when it comes to dealing with emotions. So they might just not always be up for being professional or being it's not that you're supposed to fake it, like when it comes to being professional in your emotions, but like, you know, if you have to work and you signed a contract or something, like try to keep it together as much as you can for a bit, and you know, have your proper breaks or something to like cry it out, or like just be angry. It's stuff like that. It's like this person's like prickly or just moody, like they could be good in a good mood all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden they're in a bad mood because of some minor inconvenience, or they just remembered something, but only they know the answer and nobody else does because they don't talk, or they just kind of keep it to themselves. So they could have those repressed emotions, but no one knows because they're not even openly talking about it. So it's different scenarios like that where it's like this person's vice or vices is basically keeping things to themselves, or like emotions, because you know, they might think it's my business, why do you need to know that, it kind of thing. And sometimes it's respectable, but it's like, you know, when you're when it's already affecting you on the outside, oh, there should be an outlet where you can do and you can use to like not do those habits, you know, like not be mean out of nowhere to people that don't deserve it, you know. Taking it out on people is not the best way. So it can be like that with this person, a little prickly, a little icy, but also maybe messy when it comes to romance too. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That's what I have for you. I thought it would be quicker, but I guess not. So thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you soon. You're more than welcome to also select a different video. I have many videos you guys can choose to see. And please like, subscribe, comment, and share. It helps me out with my algorithm and growing my channel. Thank you all to my subscribers. I appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you soon. So bye, everybody.